There are a lot of benefits that you gain through having a BIM model. If you look at the browser, you see that I can have different views, really the different cameras looking at my model and showing different information. So that, for example, if I needed a view where I wanted to have, say, the rooms, what I could do is I could place rooms. I'm going to use a list that I've got here where I can go in and say, well, this area is a carport, this area is my area for storing tools, and I'll just place some of these other areas. But you see what's happening is that the room's actually expanding to find the area that's defined by bounding objects, so that when I do something like, say, indicate where the garden room is, it'll expand to fill an area that I've defined either by walls or by separation lines. So I can tell it where the music area is, I can tell it where the dining area is, and workspace or kitchen. These are all also color coded so that when they are placed in the model, you get a different color for every different name of the rooms automatically. You notice that it's filling out the legend as I go. So if I say that there's a bathroom here, you see it gets added to the room legend. The master bedroom here. This means that I could make a program for the activities that I want to have in a building and then just simply place them in the building to get quantities. Let me just finish this example where I say that there's a bathroom here, and I'm going to say that I've got one storage space in this location, another storage space here. So I'd color coded the rooms in advance so that the warmer colors were like daylight activities and the blues were nighttime activities, and the grey are like storage areas. I can see all of this. Well, the really smart thing about BIM is that I can get quantities from any of the objects. So if I right click and say, select all the labels that are here, I'm going to take that label and replace it with a label that shows areas. And you can see that what it's actually doing is measuring the information off of my 3D model. Also, if I took the room schedule that I already have here, you could see that I've automatically filled this out, and that this represents the same areas that you're seeing on the room tags, but now in the form of a schedule. So going back to the benefits of BIM here, if I go back to one of my floor plans, what I want you to see is that there's many different views that I can create. There's nothing in my 3D category except the 3D view. So if I switch back to my floor plan, and there's nothing under schedules or perspective views in here. So what I want you to see is if I go to view and I say create a section, what I'm going to do is just create a section longitudinally in my building here. The groups that you see are letting me extend the area that I'm viewing. So if I wanted to cut a section through this location but not go where I'm seeing the north wall of the building, then if I click on the arrowhead, which is on the section head here, I can go straight to the section view, or it created it in the browser. So now under my sections, I can click on this and see the section that was created. I'm going to switch off the option that says crop region. So you can see that at that point, because of the way that I draw in my section, if I go back to it, I can let you see this. The arrows weren't extending beyond the walls. So if I extend them out now, and I click the section head, you see that now I can see the walls with the lights and with the windows that I couldn't see previously. The other thing here is that the point that I want to make is that these views that I can create so quickly are not necessarily for the point of view of documentation. I just flipped the section over so that I could turn around and look in the opposite direction. And this time what I did was, instead of going to the browser to find the view, I clicked on the section head itself. So sections can be created very quickly, and you can go navigate to them and see the details of your model. The other kind of view that you can create would be under the view tab, and the 3D view would be a camera view, where, for example, I could say if I'm standing here and I'm looking towards this part of my building, then what I can see is the inside of my my building. If you remember the options that you had to control visibility down here, or the visual controls, one of my options was to say show me this in a realistic mode, which will let me see the actual figures that are in here. So I can see now the inside of my building, and I can see the people that are there, and I can see paintings that are on the wall. What I haven't shown today is that the cool thing about this is if I click on the what's called the steering wheel, I can use the option that says walk to actually move within my building and see. You see, I can turn my head to see the inside of the space here, so I can see my characters. I should see my if I'm going to go through the wall here to the kitchen area, just to show you that I can kind of navigate through my building. I'm going to walk right through the wall, sorry, there we go, and back to where I kind of started. Let me just maybe turn a little bit to the right here. So I can create these views. I'm just hitting the escape key to get out. But what happens when you create them is that you might want to name them. So I can right click and say rename, and I'll call that west wall interior, so that at any point in the future as I'm working, I can always come back to that camera location to see what's going on in my building. So that was section views and camera view, which is a perspective view. The other type of view that you can create, there's always a 3D view in your project. It'll always be showing this with the curly brackets around it. But you might find it useful to copy it, so you can say right click and rename. And I'm going to call it 3D working. Everything has properties in Revit, so if I click on the window and I look at the option on the left here, the properties palette, that is a summary of the properties of the window. If I turn on a section box, you see that what I'm actually able to do is I'm able to use these controls to limit how much of my building you actually see. I'm only seeing what's completely inside the section box. I hope that's clear there. I'll actually try and just drag this out a little bit so you can see what's going on. So if I turn that and look, I'm actually just cutting through the building, but the extents of the model that I'm displaying are determined by me and the extents of that section box. This is extremely useful working in large buildings where you don't want to have all the objects visible. You could just choose to work in the area that the section box is in. In fact, if I click the section box, you see I can actually move that left, right, up and down to cut through the model itself, or choose to modify the extents of the box itself. I'd mentioned there's always a 3D view, so you notice that I don't have one at the moment with the curly brackets. What would happen would be that if I go back to 3D view, it'll recreate a new one for me, so I always have that as an option.